Welcome back. Let's look now at 16.13, the geminate nouns. Now I'm going to hold up for you a paradigm here, and let's see if I can there we go. There are two types of geminate verbs. Type 1 has a holum stem vowel in most forms. Type 2 has a pathic stem vowel. Here we go. Type 2 has a pathic stem vowel. Note also that the type 1 geminate verbs have an alternate form that also has a holum stem vowel, but each type is distinguished by its performative vowel. Type 1 verbs have a comments or the alternate heroic performative. Type 2 exhibits a serré performative vowel, and there's some also other minor variations that we'll see on and off. Up here with the type 1, we have yatsov, and yatsov. And then here we have yathim. The geminates are probably some of the least complicated verbs that we deal with. Well, that's relatively speaking. So, anyways, alternate and type 2. The alternate is the one that we're going to probably not spend so much time on because it does not they just don't I'm sorry, alternate and type 2, we're not going to spend a lot of time looking at those because they just don't occur that frequently, so you're not going to see them often enough to merit us going into great detail at this point. Later on in some other STEM forms we'll spend more time on type 1 and type 2, but here for the Cal Imperfect I think I'm overloading you with enough information as it is, so you're not going to see this alternate type 1 and type 2 often enough for us to spend a great deal of time looking at it. So the geminate 1, which is in this first row, is what we're going to spend the majority of our time on here in the next few moments. The comments in each form is the performative vowel, and that's true for all forms except for the 3FP and the 2FP, and you can see that for yourself in the 3FP and the 2FP form. In these cases it reduces to a vocal schwa due to the proprotonic reduction. There's some strange words here that just gets my tongue all tied in knots. But let me repeat that again. In the cases of the 2FP and the 3FP, it reduces to a vocal schwa due to the proprotonic reduction. The geminates, or geminate twins, no longer function as twins in those forms, in the 2FP and 3FP. So it no longer functions as twins in those forms without a sufformative, and the twin geminate just drops off. It just says won't play with you and drops off. So in those 5 forms that do not take an imperfect sufformative, the geminate the geminate consonant has simply dropped off and it's just no longer present. In the 5 forms that do take performatives, the geminate has dropped off, but it reappears as the doggish forte, and you can see that in the 3FS, the 2MS, the 2FS, the 3FP, the 2MP, and the 2FP. But it reappears, like I said, as the doggish forte in the original geminate consonant. You can identify the geminate verb with 2 basic clues. 1, the pathic performative vowel, and 2, the doggish forte in the original geminate consonant. In the 5 forms that maintain those forms and do not take it, you'll have to rely on the comments, the presence of the comments in the stem vowel. Now, the next vowel that we're going to look at is the biconsonantal, and you learned in 1412 that the biconsonantal verbs are composed of 2 rather than 3 consonants. Now, Hebrew is typically a triconsonantal language, meaning that most words, especially the verbs, are formed of 3 consonants. But the biconsonantal, they do show up from time to time. The biconsonantal verbs are just 2 consonants. So when you have the biconsonantal, there are 3 classes to consider. There's the wa, the hirik yod, and the holum wa. So you can see the paradigms for this, and it's also the same paradigm is also found on page 183 of your book. But you learned in chapter 14 that biconsonantal verbs are composed of 2 rather than 3 root consonants. You also recall that biconsonantal verbs are sometimes designated as 2 yod wa verbs. It should be clear from these paradigms that I'm showing you here, there we go, why the weak class has been called 2 yod or wa. With the imperfect and related conjugations, a medial vowel letter is found in every form. In the imperfect, these biconsonantal 2 yod or wa verbs are further classified by their medial vowel letter, as you can see in these examples here. The vowel letters are an important feature of these verbs and should be memorized as a part of your vocabulary. My camera's starting to do weird things again. Let me make sure. There we go. I don't want to make anyone dizzy. Well, there it goes off again. The vowel letters are an important feature of these verbs, and they have to be memorized as a part of your vocabulary. Let's see if I can get it to do it again. There, it has to be memorized as a part of your vocabulary. Biconsonantal verbs are listed in the lexicon and vocabulary sections in the infinitive construct form. Recognition rather than memorization is going to be an important driving part of this verbal form. I'm not asking you to memorize this information. I'm just asking you to be familiar enough with it so that you can actually recognize it when it shows up. Because what we're going to do after this semester, when we do our quizzes, exams, you're going to be able to take your Hebrew helps with you, as well as a lexicon to help you to identify these root words. It is my heart and passion that after this class is over, that you not hate the language, that you love the language enough and be familiar enough with it that you'll be able to use the tools that are available to you. And next semester, I'm going to actually spend some time talking with you about the available tools. We'll spend some more time talking about the lexicon, and I'll introduce you to 2 other texts. One's pretty expensive, and I had to bundle up birthday, anniversary, and Christmas to get my husband to give it to me as a gift. It's over $1,000, and I got the hard copy, so I don't know if it's even available electronically yet or not, and that's the Theological Dictionary of the Old Testament. Well, I'm sorry, it's not the Theological Dictionary, it's, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, it is the Theological Dictionary of the Old Testament. I had to double check. But another very inexpensive source for you. You can buy it now in 1 volume, but it's the Theological Word Book of the Old Testament, and it comes in two forms. It comes in a 1 volume, or it comes in 2 volumes, and you can probably buy this used on Amazon.com. And another source, and again, this one's kind of pricey, it's several $100s, is the New International Dictionary of Old Testament Theology and Exegesis. I am just weird enough to use all of these references a lot, but I'll introduce you to these next semester, and what I'll probably want to do is send you a little, I'll scan it and send it to you as a scan, a little blurb from each of these so that you can see the difference in what these resources have to offer to you. So that's all coming up next semester though. So here is a paradigm of the Cal Imperfect Week biconsonantal verbs. So just some basic things to remember, and this is all in your book, 16.15, in all the forms except 3FP and 2FP. In every class, the performative vowel is a comments. The stem vowel of every form is determined by the biconsonantal subclass, the shurik, the hirik yod, or holam wa. It should be noted that some mixing of the diagnostic stem vowel does occur. For example, isham is sometimes rendered ishom. It should also be noted that sometimes the stem vowel may be written deflectively. And those are just some basic things, and you can find that information in your book. The remainder of the imperfect week verbs, I'm going to leave to you to go through your book and work with. They're not going to be found as frequently as the ones that we've reviewed today, but they are going to be found, and you are going to be responsible for them. There's the doubly weak verbs that you need to have a look at. There's the 1 yod in the imperfect, and the 1 noon verbs that you'll need to have a look at, and again, the doubly weak verbs. And those are pretty much going to finish us, well, not pretty much, those are going to finish us off for the semester. So I am going to try to have your final exam posted by Friday. And again, when you go, it's going to be in 2 parts. There's vocabulary, 50 vocab words. You may take nothing into that exam with you. And with 50 words, I think 30 minutes should be plenty of time. You either know them or you don't. The second portion is going to be verbal parsing. You'll have approximately 20, maybe 25 verbs to parse. And with that parsing, you'll do stem, conjugation, person, gender, number, and a translation. And right now, the only stem you know is cow. So please write cow down for all of them, and that's an automatic given for you. It'll be then either perfect or imperfect, then person, gender, number, and then you'll translate it for me. And then you'll also have about 10 sentences. I'll give you about 10 sentences to translate. The sentences will pretty much, at least 8 of the 10 will be sentences that you've seen on previous exams. So again, study your past exams, your past quizzes, know the material in your workbook, and have done your workbook material. And you should do really well. And then I'll look forward to seeing you guys again for the second semester, the second round. So God bless you, and thanks for a great semester.